Hi, Math 8. This is part 2 of chapter 7.5 using the Pythagorean theorem. On the first part we did some distance formula stuff. Now we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to identify whether whether a triangle is right or it's not right. So here it's real simple. When the sum of these two squares is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, which is the longest of the three sides, it is a right triangle, okay? And when the sum of these two squares is not equal to c squared, or the hypotenuse squared, then it is not a right triangle, okay? So here we go. We're going to do some math. And let's go ahead and use our calculators, so that way you can get a little practice with that. Actually, I'm going to move it off to the side to get it out of my way. So we're going to go with 24 squared plus 36 squared is equal to 42 squared. Okay, I might try to see if I can fit this in here. So 24 squared, type in 24, you square it, that's 576. Okay, clear your calculator. 36 squared, type in 36. X squared, square it, 1296. You should have one of these on your phone. You might even just have your own calculator. And then finally 42 squared. 42, and then again the square button, 1764. And I can't tell if my calculator's on the screen or not, but hopefully you can see this. Now, we're going to take the square of the two legs, 576, and that's what I pushed plus for, 1296. And that is 1872. And the other number, the other square, was 1764. So these are not equal, which means not a right triangle. Okay? Now let's do the next problem. I'm not going to use a calculator for this one. So they're in order, and again, the greatest side, right, is the hypotenuse. 42 is the greatest of these three. 1 3/10 is the greatest of these three. So I'm going to take half squared plus 1 2/10 squared is equal to 1 3/10 squared. Okay, let's go ahead and square those. This is going to be 25 100ths. This is 1 4400ths. Really, this is just 5 squared and 12 squared, right? And then this is 13 squared. So that's going to be 1 6900ths. Add these two together. 5 plus 4 is 9. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then we still have that 1. And these are equal. So when they're equal, is a right triangle. Okay, and now I'm going to give you a little bit of bonus information that's not actually going to be used in this section, but I just feel like I have to identify this. We know what it is when it's equal to, and we know that when they're not equal to, it's not a right triangle. So when it's equal, it's right. When it's not equal, it's not right. So what happens when it's not equal? That means one of two things happens, okay? If you take these two squares and you add them together, and it turns out they have a greater sum than the square of the hypotenuse, this is going to be called an acute triangle. So that's one of those small triangles where all the angles are less than 90. So now if you can say that the sum of these two squares is greater than the hypotenuse squared, and that's equal to an acute triangle, then we could say the opposite of this. When you square the legs and you add them together, if that sum is less than c squared, I want you to think about the answer, then that means this kind of triangle is not acute. Since these two symbols are opposites, then these triangles are sort of opposite as well. This one will be an obtuse triangle. You'll see this next year when you're in the 9th grade. Okay?